There is a link between poverty and violence in Youngstown. Investigative digital reporter Joe Gorman was able to pinpoint the poorest neighborhood and learned it was the most violent.
You can read his investigation right now on our website, WKBN.com. Here's Community Affairs Director Dee Crawford taking us in depth with Joe.
We're going to continue our conversation this evening and address some of the findings. Joe, let's first talk about poverty.
Well, criminologists for years have said there is a link between poverty and violence. In the last couple of years, there's been a little bit of a shift in that to the question is, does violence drive poverty? But there's no question that they're related. The poorest census tract in the city is also the most violent census tract in the city. On the maps, it's labeled 8016, but basically it's bounded by East Indianola and East Midlothian, and also Market Street and South Avenue. That tract has had 42 homicides since 2001. That's the most of any tract in the city. The poverty rate is 53.2%. That's also the highest in the city. As someone who's been doing this for a long time, there's several streets in that tract that have had a lot of violence. Hilton, East Auburndale, East Avondale. The Hilton especially has had maybe, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but maybe 8 or 10 homicides within the last 15 years. And what's interesting about the data, though, from that is it didn't really start to pick up violence-wise until the middle of the 2000s. In the 90s, not that it was quiet, but there wasn't a lot of violence there. There were maybe 4 or 5 homicides for the whole decade, and that was Youngstown's most violent decade, was the 90s. So
what may have caused that shift? Housing, education or schools, demolishing again of housing?
Well, there's a lot of blight in that tract, but also while there was a population loss, the people who are stuck there, they don't have the means to get out, and you know, a lot of them are on public assistance, or they're elderly and they're on a fixed income. So if they can't leave their neighborhood and other people are stuck there, it just leads to more violence. I know there's also been a lot of drug crime there, and that drug crime in Youngstown is one of the main drivers of our violence.
Did you find, or were you able to discern whether some of these issues also addresses housing as far as rental property, Section 8 property? How many homeowners still remain?
I've been told by my people I interviewed at the police department about this story that they've had troubles with rental properties, not just in that part of the South Side, but other parts of the South Side for years. Those people typically, they're poor, they're more transitory, they don't have roots, and so if something happens, they're more likely to leave, and if they leave, a lot of times the landlords just don't keep it up. So that all feeds in on itself, and if you're stuck there, it's not a good cycle to be in.
Again, we've looked at, Joe and I, through various aspects. If you're more interested in what we're finding, go to WKBN.com. Again, I'm Dee Crawford, Community Affairs Director, WKBN.